Hey everyone, welcome to The Next Level, a podcast from the Team Performance Institute. Here we provide actionable insights on modern leadership and team development, driving higher levels of organizational performance and life empowerment. I'm your host, John Sanchez. Join me and my team as we take you on the journey to the next level. Oh, welcome everybody to The Next Level. We are honored and psyched to have the legendary Ken Bloom with us. Ken, welcome.
Guten Tag, Johnny. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, Guten Tag indeed. We've had a few Guten Tags lately. We've been on tour for the past 2 days.
Chicago,
back in Cincinnati. Today's podcast is going to be a really fun one. Today is about the Hacker Herren, which is a group that Ken founded. We're going to go into the history of it. Ken founded many years ago, but just to give a brief intro on Ken, great guy, best friend. We've known each other 20 years now. 20 years.
It's been, I think 2003 was the first year inside the tent. Inside the tent, I think, is where I gave you my first handshake.
Isn't that cool? All the friendships that we made. Now let's just get a little bit of the background. So today's podcast is going to be around, building community, building trust, a good, cool brotherhood fellowship that you've really built over the years for close to 500 guys.
Right.
But this is about everybody this is about a lot of fun. And Ken's group is Oktoberfest in Germany, in Munich every year. So pull yourself a long, tall...
Not every year, John. We had 1 year.
That's true. I forgot about that. We had 2 years. That didn't happen.
Well, I just meant 1 year we did it in Cincinnati.
That's right. Yeah. Right here in Cincinnati. Thanks to Jill Meyer.
Jill put together a great program for us. It was fantastic.
It's fantastic. So everybody pour yourself a tall, cool one. In fact, Kenny, I think we should probably do that right now.
I've been waiting for this. It's really hot outside.
We have our Hacker Shore beer here, and
Prost.
We have our Oktoberfest mugs for you guys who are watching this. Online, we're actually pouring ourselves a nice cold beer. What better way to talk about Oktoberfest?
John, I didn't randomly pull out two of your mosses. I took out the one from 2003, which is the one I'm drinking out of.
I like that.
And last year's,
yeah.
So we got the whole spectrum here of 20 years of enjoying Oktoberfest together.
Prost. 20 years. Prost, my brother. Oh, Hacker Shore, Munich Gold. All right, so let's get into this, Kenny. If you look at where we are right now in 2023, and you think about what you've built and developed, it's almost the enormity of it's really cool. You got about 500 guys on a spreadsheet. You got this great group of men, all different levels of executive, a lot of very successful folks. Everybody's really successful in the group. They all come together in an organized unit. Every year we have over 100 guys going this year. Amazing. And they all show up and they all have this sense of fellowship and brotherhood. And it's just hugs and everything. And we walk right into these tents to paint a picture of Oktoberfest for those of you who haven't been. And we highly recommend that you go, clearly. It's like one of the most beautiful state fair type places, and down the main strip is about 13 huge tents. When I say tent, I'm not talking about an American tent. I'm talking about a building that it hosts about 6,000 to 10,000 people in these buildings. We get to go to the best tent, the Hacker tent. We get to get in tables that are closest to the band, and we have the most prized possession. So if you look at the tables, and our waiters hold them for us, our security are waiting for us, they let us in. We get a front row seat to the best beer party of all time. I mean, pretty much undisputed Munich's Oktoberfest. Right. When I think about that, it's how did this happen? How did you create over, I guess 92 was the beginning, right?
The first year I ever attended Oktoberfest, just with some work colleagues. Just went after work. I was in Munich for business, and just the team was just going to Oktoberfest like you do if you're a Munich native, and they invited me along. That was the first time I went. I had no idea what I'd heard of Oktoberfest, but I had no idea what it was about.
So you weren't living in Munich at the time. You weren't living.
No. I lived in London, actually. I did live overseas. I lived in London, but part of my job would take me to Munich each week. So I was just there working on a Thursday night or whatever, and we went to the tent afterwards.
So tell me about the first time you go into the tent. This is a big moment, right? You go into the tent for the first time. What was it like for you walking in the tent, and where did it go from there?
So, again, I came from work, so I'm wearing, my normal work attire, which at that time would have been a tie. I'm sure I took my tie off, but wearing work clothes, kind of formal business, clothing, and my eyes were like saucers when I walked in and saw this quote unquote tent with 10,000 people, music blaring, people standing on the tables, because I went after work, so it was already roaring. It was already 6-7 o'clock at night. The place is hopping, and they have these giant beers. I've never seen I've never drank out of a beer mug as big as these. These are what a liter.
Yep.
And that's the only size you can buy. If you want a beer, you're getting a liter of Hacker Shore beer if you're in their tent.
That's right. They only serve in each tent. They only serve the beer of that tent. So we're drinking Hacker Shore beer out of, it's like huge. It's a liter. In German they call it a Mass. We typically call it a Stein here in America, but it's this big Mass. So you got your big Mass. You walk in the tent first time. You're hanging out with some
work colleagues. I have probably 4 or 5 work colleagues, young German folks. And you get overtaken by the music and the dancing and the fun, and the first liter goes down. It's a liter, which is about 3 beers. It's 3 12-ounce beers, and the first one goes down in about 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely fast, because you're so excited with the energy level, and you order another one.
Yep.
That one goes down in about 4 minutes.
Dangerous.
Nobody told me about pacing yourself. And it went down from there. And the next day, I always prided myself, John, and when I was in college and at work, never missing a day because I was hungover or I had too much fun the night. But I'd never ever in my whole career missed a class or work because of having a little too much. And then I went to Oktoberfest, and the next day, Friday morning, didn't happen for me.
It broke your streak.
Didn't happen for me. First time ever. I was curled up in a fetal position because nobody talked to me about pacing myself and how to do this thing, and I made a lot of rookie mistakes that first day.
Pacing yourself is a big part of Oktoberfest. I always tell rookies, drink your beer like it's coffee. Like drink it like you sip on it, right? But it's hard not to get caught up in the excitement of the tent. I'm guilty as well. My rookie year, I don't think I got off the couch, which is a whole other discussion, but I struggled the next day. So 92, you walk in, work colleagues, you're having fun. You look around and you think, man, I should bring some more people over to this. Tell us about how it transpired from there.
Right. That was a couple years later, 93, 94, same sort of thing. Just went with my work colleagues, didn't think much, about it. And then, I had hired actually your brother, who we call the Godfather, because he was, one of the original guys like myself. He and I kind of put this thing together, not consciously. It just evolved. But Joe Sanchez worked for me back in the day, and Joe lived in Munich, worked in Munich in our office, and spoke German. And Joe was the first one that really kind of opened the door beyond just, hey, let's have beer and let's eat some Hendel, the chickens that are delicious, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of took it, another layer deep with starting to meet some local people and having, some conversations beyond, yes, I'd like a beer. Yes, I would like a Hendel. And you really got to start feeling some of the local culture through his introduction. Yeah. So we started meeting some people, and then I moved back to the U.S. Full time in '96, and I was still working in Europe, traveling back and forth, and I would still go to Oktoberfest, as a commuter. And then in 2000, I got the idea that this thing is just so fun, and I don't think my friends have really even heard of Oktoberfest. So I introduced the concept to them. I said, "You guys won't believe this party. You have got to come with me and we're gonna go to Oktoberfest in Munich. And I ended up getting about 20 work colleagues from the U.S., from San Francisco, basically. And we put together a little tour. We got shirts kind of similar to
that was the first year of Jersey. So it was 22. It was
2020.
2000.
Sorry,
2000.
2000, right?
2000. Okay. First year of jerseys. Got it.
First year of jerseys. And we had, I could say about 20, 24 people, something like that. And no lederhosen at that point. Just jeans and a shirt. And we had fun. These people all came over, kind of just trusted, the story I was telling them, and had a ball. And then we decided, hey, we got to do this again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 9/11 happened the next year.
That's right. Yeah.
So we didn't go.
Yeah, it happened in September. And if you're watching this Oktoberfest, most of Oktoberfest happens in September. It always ends the first weekend of October, but you dial it back 2 weeks. So it's a September thing. So September 11th happens. World kind of changes 01. And so you guys did not go.
So we didn't go in 01 as a group. And then, 02, we sat that one out as well, because it was still pretty intense, traveling and stuff at that point. But in 2003, a few of us started trickling back in. We sent our scouts over, so to speak. And that's where I had the pleasure of meeting you, John.
That's right. The 03 and the 10. I knew of you, heard of you. I'd been to Oktoberfest I was at 99 was my rookie year. And just to go into the enormity of this for a second, if you guys are online right now, if you go to Hacker Herren, if you just Google Hacker Herren, HACKER HEREN, it means the men of the Hacker tent is really what it is. Hackerherren.com. We have a Twitter handle. We have an Instagram handle. You'll see the enormity of this group, and you'll see what Ken and I are talking about, jerseys. If you're watching this online, I have the travel shirt on right now, and the travel shirt is what we normally wear to the tents on Thursday. Ken's got his jersey on. We're talking about jerseys. This is this year's jersey, and it's got the Oktoberfest logo on the front. It's got the C for captain, and the most impressive part of Ken's jersey is the back. It's got his nickname, Hasselhoff. He's known affectionately as the Hoff in our group, and the big number 27. Ken, tell us what the significance of the number is on your back.
Well, I wear it with pride. That means I've been to Oktoberfest 27 different years. So the number on your back, John's got an impressive number on his jersey, which is 19. But yeah, it's the number of years you've been to Oktoberfest. And it goes from 27, which is the highest number in our group, to R for rookies. This year we have 36 rookies, I think. 37 rookies going with us. So they get to wear the R on their back, and everyone knows, oh, there's a rookie.
That's a rookie. And then tell us a little bit about, we celebrate rookies. When you hear the word rookie, oftentimes you think, that maybe comes with a negative connotation that, like, okay, this is a new guy, or he's going to have to go get the beers, or there's going to be some type of a new guy, like initiation. With us, it's the exact opposite. We get jealous of our rookies. When they come in, we celebrate our rookies. Tell us a little bit about rookies and how you prepare them to enter the tent. We have on our website, you'll see a cheat sheet for rookies. Yeah. Tell us about how you help rookies come into the tent before they even get there.
I want to really make sure that the rookies know what they're getting into, that they understand. They really do have kind of an obligation to our group, because we've got, since 1992, we've got whatever that is, 31 years of goodwill, which we built up inside the tent. We want to make sure that we don't compromise that goodwill. So we talk to the rookies about the relationships that we've established over those years, and the brotherhood that we have established over those years, and we want to make sure that that they will enhance those, not even just maintain. We want them to continue to enhance and allow this group to get better and better. So we prepare them. I kind of paint a picture for them in writing, and they probably laugh at how many communications they get from me, prior to Oktoberfest. But I really kind of set the stage for them, let them know who we are, what we're about. And make sure that they embrace the spirit of Gemütlichkeit.
Oh, Gemütlichkeit. We got to talk about Gemütlichkeit. Gemütlichkeit, big German name.
It's one of those German words with 58 letters and hard to say.
And if you go to Oktoberfest, you toast to it about 50 times a day. You raise your glass to a Prost to Gemütlichkeit, and I think after about 10 years, guys finally can actually say that word.
I think so.
There's no real good translation, no solid translation for Gemütlichkeit from German to English, but I will do my best. Gemütlichkeit means to embrace the happiness of the festival, right? And when we talk about rookies, we have an award every year, Rookie of the Year. It's a highly coveted award. It's a really fun. I can't wait to talk about Walt Steinbeck and Rookie of the Year. But it's not the guy who's the craziest or drinks the most beer, or it's not that guy. It's the guy who embraces the happiness of the festival, which is in a lot of ways embracing life. Like, this is like when you're in the tent and it's fired up, you just feel so alive. And it's that guy who just brings it out in himself and in many others around him as a rookie. In 2003, I guess it was I think it was only my second year. I can't remember. Many, many years and lots of brain cells there. But Walt Steinbeck comes to the tent, and my brother Joe, side fun story about Joe. When we were in 1999, I went to Oktoberfest, and Joe was there, and he had bought Lederhosen. He bought a couple sets of Lederhosen. His wife had a dirndl. My wife, Anya, she was with us. She put a dirndl on. We go into the tent. We're standing there. We look like we're two Filipinos who both speak German. So we look Mexican, but we're standing there and at that time, most people in the tent did not wear Lederhosen, which is really surprising. This festival's been going on for like literally 100 plus years at that point. And people were not in Lederhosen, but Joe and I, we were fully decked out in Lederhosen, and we speak German. So the Germans were like looking at us like, who are these guys? Joe says to me, this is funny because there's a table of Germans, and they all were wearing basically like American-like gear. And we had a couple beers in us, and he goes, look at those guys. They're trying to look like Americans, right? And he goes, it's so obvious they're not. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Look at us. Like, what are we like? We're two like Filipino Americans in Germany, and later I was like, turn the mirror on us.
How funny.
Oh, it was so good. But going back to Walt Steinbeck. So Walt's in the tent. And at that point in our group, it was only about like 5 to 8 guys a year that would show up. You'd do a good job of getting us hotel rooms, and we'd kind of just book it out, and we'd muscle our way into the tent. And if you go into the tent Oktoberfest, you have to get into the tent, which is hard to do. And then you have to get to a table, which is really hard to do in order to get a beer. It's not like a street festival in America where you can just walk around and buy a beer on the street and walk around with your beer. You have to actually get in a tent and be sitting down. That's just the German culture. That's the Oktoberfest culture of how you get served. So getting into the tent was a big deal. We had to muscle our way in. It was only 4 or 5 of us. We'd try to get real estate. We just one person to get a butt on a seat. And then over the course of an hour or two, we would get 4 or 5 butts on seats. We'd work our way into this. Fast forward about 10 more hours into the night, and there's the great Walt Steinbeck standing on a bench. Walt's a giant of a man, beautiful man, mountain of a man, and he is on fire. He is Oktoberfest incarnate. He's personified the Gemütlichkeit. He is just going at it. I remember he had a muscle T-shirt on. One of those,
that's a funny shirt.
One of those funny shirts that makes it look like you have muscles. Now, Walt has huge muscles. He didn't need the shirt. But, oh, my goodness, he was on fire. And Joe says, man, if there was – we were both talking. He said, if there was an award like a Rookie of the Year, that guy would be the Rookie of the Year. And that became our award, right?
The next year, we followed through on that and awarded him, or that the end of that year, we awarded him, dude, you just embrace the spirit of Oktoberfest. You're the Rookie of the Year. And that's how this thing, the Rookie of the Year, started, was he just was so effusive and just represented all that is Oktoberfest.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the thing that Walt did to carry that on, which was just a great idea.
Oh, super.
So we kind of awarded him Rookie of the Year,
Yeah. We're like, hey, you're the Rookie of the Year. There was no like real ceremony to it. You're like, well, you're kind of the Rookie of the Year. Congrats. He's
so
like,
the next year, Walt goes home, and Walt's a golf fan, and the Masters golf champion gets to wear a green jacket upon winning that, and so Walt bought this Bavarian hat, which we all kind of have an image of what those green Bavarian hats are, and that became the trophy of the Rookie of the Year. So Walt wore that all the next year, and we were telling everyone, hey, look at that green hat, Rookie of the Year. And at the end of the 2004 year, he passed on this award, this hat, to the next Rookie of the Year,
Von der Eck.
Mr. Von der Eck.
Mr. Von der Eck.
Steve Von der Eck was I think he was 71. He's still alive. He's still doing great. But at that time, 20 years ago, he was 71 years old, didn't drink a lot, but he didn't need to. He just was visiting with everyone, laughing, smiling, having fun. And so Walt anointed Mr. Von der Eck with the hat.
Yep.
And then Mr. Von der Eck the next year passed it on to the winner in 2005, Doc Larry, and so on.
Legends now. And the hat has become rather legendary because on the hat, if you win Rookie of the Year, you get to have your name on it, much like a major trophy that you'd have for any, for any golf tournament or hockey tournament. There's you get your name, and then you add something to the hat, something from yourself. So the hat's kind of legendary. It's kind of cool. You see the hat kind of cruising around, but that is the Rookie of the Year, and it's been a again, Kenny. We were talking about this earlier. There was no major plan for this whole to turn into what it is. We never imagined we'd have 500 guys. We basically have an executive committee. I tell people about this. I'm like, we got a website, we got a Twitter handle, we got an Instagram, we got an executive committee. I don't know if I should be very proud or kind of embarrassed that we're this organized around drinking beer. But it's not about drinking beer. I mean, it is about enjoying beer together, but really it is about that Gemütlichkeit. We're talking about that special brotherhood. I'll switch gears and just talk about how this has grown. We were into 2003. We started making jerseys. If I remember correctly, the group had grown to about 30, 40, 50-ish in the 03 range. And
in the 04-05 range.
Yeah. It started to build up. But I remember those jerseys. I still have some of those. In fact, I was in charge of swag one year, and I messed it up so badly that they decided I would never be in charge of swag.
I remember that year.
So let's go into 03, 04, 05. The group starts to grow a little bit. What was it like for you to keep that organized? I know we had at one point we grew up to a little bit too big. We wanted to dial it back. Talk to us through the 2000s and how it kind of evolved.
Yeah, I mean, it did absolutely grow organically. As I said initially, it was just friends and business colleagues, and hey, I wanted to share this fun experience with them. But guess what? They wanted to share it with their friends too.
Yeah.
Their sons and their fathers. And so it just grew organically. It's the old, they told two friends and they told two friends. So it really mushroomed pretty darn quickly from 03, when we just had a table full of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
To, kind of 07, I think we had maybe 50 or so people. And it, at that point you got 50 people, and you go, wow, that's a lot of people. It's a lot of management. I'm working full time, and I don't really have a lot of time to organize this thing. But yet we were continued to bring a group every year, and the energy level just kept growing and growing. And we got to the point, John, where we took up an entire hotel, the Ars Vivendi.
Ars Vivendi, yeah.
They dedicated the whole hotel to our group, and I thought, that's it. That's where we want to be. It was 61 people.
Yeah,
they had 61 beds in that.
We
hotel.
have arrived. We have our own hotel at Oktoberfest.
Dedicated. These 3 days, there's no other people in the hotel other than the Hacker Herren. And then we said, okay, well, that's it. That's what we want to do. 61 is the right number.
Yeah,
we'll max it out at that.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
It's hard, right? So people call you.
If you're going to call me and say, hey, I got a great buddy or my brother, they want to come. My dad wants to come. I want to bring my son. Right. Sorry. were full.
Right.
So we didn't put that cap on that we thought we were going to. And we ended up having to go to 2 different hotels. So we had 61 in the Ars Vivendi and the Overflow in another hotel. And I didn't like that a lot, but we didn't really have any options, John. So it's not the best. But what we did do, we kept the culture because we had all the rookies and their sponsors, so to speak, in the Ars Vivendi hotel. So they were all the rookies were together along with their sponsors. And the veterans that didn't bring a rookie would stay at the other hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of kept the fun and the culture going,
Right.
even though we were split up, and we'd all meet up in the tent. And of course, we'd all meet up after the Oktoberfest was closed for pizza. And tell the funny stories about what occurred during the prior 12 hours of beer drinking. So we went a number of years, John, where we would be in 2 separate hotels. And then this year, for the first time in many, many years, we're changing hotels. We're not going to be in the Ars Vivendi this year. We're going to be in the Hotel Seibel, which has over 100 beds.
Yeah.
So we're all going to be in one hotel.
We're all going to be together. We're going to get the band back together. Hotel Seibel is on your jersey. So this is another fun part of the Hacker Herren if you're watching this online, you got Hotel Seibel on his left arm, and on the right is the Hacker Herren symbol, which obviously Hacker is the beer tent we go to. So for all those who go to Germany and they're thinking, I don't speak German, how am I going to get along? You just have to put your jersey on and go, hey. And I have the travel shirt on, Hotel Seibel right here. That's where I need to go at the end of the day. You have it like tattooed on your arm. Like, here you go. And people will take you. They'll direct you right there. Now, the Hotel Seibel, by the way, is not hard to find. You can see it from Oktoberfest. It is right up on top of, right above the Hill of Shame, which is a whole other story. I don't know if we'll have time to get into. But I don't want to skip over because, Team Performance Institute, we talk about the power of relationships. And we talk about, like, our second rule of engagement is, to surround yourself with the best people possible, right? You surround yourself with, and that is the Hacker Herren. But let's talk a little bit outside of the Hacker Herren for a second, because you easily skipped over, we got a whole hotel to ourselves. Whoa, that just doesn't happen. You can't just walk into any place or be an American and walk into any European city and say, I want to take this whole hotel for one of the most coveted weekends of all time. But you build a big relationship there. So tell us a little bit about, I'd like to go in, if you don't mind, about relationships, like the relationships we have with the hotel, the relationships we have with our waiters and our staff and the security, and then what we've done with them. It's a really neat story because it goes beyond a bunch of Americans going over to the big Oktoberfest and having a good time. It goes way beyond that. The more you peel the onion here, the more you see how cool this has become. Tell us a little bit start with the hotel.
That's a great question, John. So this is something that without the relationships that we have built, this never could have gotten to what it is.
Correct.
It's not something where you can write a check and this is available. If you write a bigger check, you get more stuff. None of this is check based. It's relationship, 100% relationship based. Mm-hmm. You couldn't buy what we are able to accomplish with our relationships. And it starts, as you said, at the hotel. We were nice guys. We people at the hotel appreciated our business. We appreciated and respected the jobs that they have to do. And we had fun together. We really had fun together. And the owner of the hotel, Rico, I hope we can share this with Rico as well.
Oh, Rico will definitely listen to this.
Rico's a great guy, and he just embraced our group and allowed us to take over his whole hotel for 3 days, and facilitated it to allow us to do the shenanigans that 60 drunk guys will do. But, and then you take those relationships, John, into the tent.
Yeah.
Again, I mentioned it earlier, but Joe, the Godfather, kind of started introducing us to the waiters. And we weren't just buying a beer anymore. Now we got to know the waiters a little bit. And after a couple years of knowing the waiters, and being nice guys and tipping generously, absolutely tipping generously. Became friends with the waiters. They introduced us to other waiters. And then they also introduced us to their managers, the wait staff managers, who, without their support, again, we couldn't grab 3, 4, 5, 6 tables in the middle of the best tent in the best weekend, the middle weekend, every single year, unless they supported it and embraced it. So over the years, the waiters kept, again, we earned their trust, and they were introducing us up and up the chain. And now we are, you fast forward to 2023, and we are great friends with the general manager of the tent, the guy who runs the whole thing. He's our friend. He came over, John.
Not the general manager of the tent, the general manager of Oktoberfest.
Also,
both. Well, the general manager of the tent, like that's superpower.
Within the tent, he is, it's basically his party, and and he allows this to occur or not. He can put the kibosh on it with one snap of the finger.
Right.
This past January, he came over to San Francisco, where we had a big party in his honor.
Yep.
He brought his girlfriend. We celebrated with them and had just a wonderful, wonderful party. And years past, we've had probably 3 or 4 of the waiters come visit us, whether it's in Chicago or in San Francisco. We had one of the security guys come over and visit us and spend time with us, and we celebrated with him as well. So it's these relationships. And then, you alluded to it. Last year, one of our friends introduced us to the general manager of Oktoberfest. The whole festival.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And he came in the tent. He's like the mayor.
We got a shirt for him.
Yeah,
we got a shirt for him. Yeah.
What a great guy too.
Clemens
Baumgartner. Great guy, and that's a very big job. He struggled a lot when COVID happened, because I talked to him on the phone. Luckily, our good friend Sophie, who has been around Oktoberfest, I think since she was 2 years old, helped us become friends with Clemens. And during, we were all dying, and we were all just, during like the whole COVID thing, we really missed being together, as most people did, and we really wanted Oktoberfest to happen. I remember I got on a phone call with Clemens, and he said to me, "Hey, if you can get an insurance policy that covers 1 million people, then we can have Oktoberfest this year." But we can't do it in a scaled down version, so it didn't happen. But we did something special in COVID, something I'm super proud of, and we should all be super. The group did. Tell us a little, the group, of what we did. And before, I'm going to ask you a question, but I want to give a little background before. The servers that go to Oktoberfest, the servers that's the waiting staff, they aren't necessarily affiliated with the brewery itself. These are typically young professionals, or they're professional servers that this 2.5 weeks for them is a massive income stream for them, because they're independent contractors to the beer tent. What they do is they go in and they spend their own money buying a bunch of tokens, and then it's on them to go sell beers, and they exchange them for the token. So it's a whole like cool system that they have, and they make a few bucks off of each beer. So it's a very beautiful capitalistic kind of build. Like the more you hustle, the more you sell, and it's super. And they have to go from table to table, and you've probably seen the iconic, awesome waiters, men and women, carrying the 10 or 12 Mosses, or what we'd call steins, and like they're walking through. These guys are really working hard for about 2.5, 3 weeks. They are busting their butts to, make a ton of money. And it does create a lot of income for their families. In our group, building on the talk on relationships, we've had, guys who are putting themselves through law school, who now are good friends of ours and actually joined our group afterwards. We had guys who are putting themselves through, men and women, putting themselves through medical school.
Right.
And just great young, I'd say young, God, I'm getting old. But like these are really like, up and comers and great people. And then we've built just great relationships, literally 30-year relationships with the staff. But during COVID, they didn't have that income stream. And during COVID, that's a tough time for them, because you're probably losing, I'd guess, maybe 20 to 30% of their yearly income. So talk to us about what you did to help with that.
Yeah, thanks for asking about that, John. It is one of the things that I'm most proud of our group. Our group recognizes the basically the story that John just told, and I sent a little memo out to the group and told them that it's unfortunate Oktoberfest is canceled this year, and I really feel badly for the waiters who are going to have this gap in their earnings for the year with no ability to plan in advance and make up for it another way. So they're gonna have a hole. So we decided to do a GoFundMe. We asked the guys to put in whatever they were comfortable with, John, and the guys rallied together, and we were able to raise $26,000.
26,000.
26 grand. And we took that money, and the waiters had no idea this was going on, by the way. This is just all of us acting, behind the scenes. And I contacted them after we did the GoFundMe, and I let them know right around Oktoberfest time that that our team was proud to be able to help them bridge the gap for this year, and we split it amongst five. We have five kind of core waiters in our group, and then we also helped one of the security team that is a good friend of ours, and a couple other folks we gave some contribution to help bridge that gap. And John, it was as you would expect. They were flabbergasted. They were dumbfounded. They had no expectation of this contribution and the generosity that this group really has towards their friends. These people are our friends.
Yeah.
And I was just really proud of that.
It was amazing. It really speaks to the character of the group, right? You just put it out there. I remember the email. You put it out there and you're like, hey, if you're thinking about people that might be in need right now, let's just think about these folks. And everybody was hurting during COVID, and that was just like really cool. It kind of speaks to the relationships that we've built, and it's not just us, like senior members of the group trying to keep this group going. This was everybody in the Hacker Herren. This is people who hadn't been there for a long time. What's been created here is 500 men who've been in some way affiliated. There's, in my mind, there's three separate groups in Oktoberfest. There's your core group of veterans, I'd call them, that show up pretty much every year. Like
right.
If one of the veterans doesn't show up, it's like, oh no, we're missing that guy. And
there has to be a child's wedding, a birth, something to keep these core veterans,
which does happen, right?
Life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, everybody. It doesn't get in your way, but but this is your baby.
Well, my baby did get married last year, and she absolutely took into consideration Oktoberfest. So she got married at the end of October, knowing that I'd be back and kind of well rested by that time.
That is commitment. That is commitment. It reminds me of I had to miss Oktoberfest to my dying shame because I was here in Cincinnati doing the film festival, and I loved it because I got to chair an awesome film festival. And the next year they tried to do it during the Oktoberfest weekend, and I told them I would be happy to chair the festival, but it can't be on this weekend. And so they had enough runway to say, okay, fine, we're going to do it a different weekend.
Unbelievable!
It was so great. So I got to do both, the best of both worlds.
So we got the core group.
Us. Yeah, the old guys, the veterans.
The guys with the big numbers on the back.
That's right. Yeah, if you got double digits on your back, you're part of that core group. Then you got your the guys who are really fun. They show up maybe every couple years or once every 5 years, or they're celebrating a big birthday. That's fun because you get to reunite with them. That's another probably 30, 40 guys. And then you got your rookies, and we already talked about the rookies. The rookies are so fun. I have 2 rookies going this year. I can't wait. And for me, and it's probably the same for you. Like when you bring a rookie to the tent, it's hard to describe because they see it for the first time. And I think about a couple of my rookies. I think about like Trevor Hellwig or Joe Ulrich, Dan Sandlin, Mitch Weiss. These are legendary names in the Hacker Herren. Just to see their faces light up, just to see them go, oh my gosh, this is for real. I love that feeling of bringing a rookie in and then watching them just get absorbed by the environment.
Yeah, they their eyes are as big as saucers. Their grins just don't fade at all.
Mhm.
They're in the tent for 12 hours, and they are smiling from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. when the tent closes.
We should probably talk about like how that works for our group. We it's kind of a schedule for us, right? We
Which I write down and send out to everybody,
Yep.
the rookies, so they know what the schedule is.
we got to know, there's kind of if there aren't really many rules to this group, we do have a no a-hole rule, which we'll get into as well. But the schedule is cool because you show up. We normally fly over to Europe on what would be a red eye, and we arrive in Europe in the morning, and we go straight to the hotel just to drop off our bags. You're not allowed to stay at the hotel. You can't take a nap or there's no like. If you lose that momentum, you're screwed.
You will fade fast.
You'll fade fast
if you allow it to.
Right.
Yeah.
So we drop our bags, we go straight into the tent, and we get there for about lunch, and we go. And the tents close at 10 o'clock at night.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Most people say 10 o'clock. Oh, that's way too early. What's going on? Like bars open and bars don't get going in the States till 10 o'clock. You are praying for 10 o'clock some days because you're just like, oh my gosh, because it's so fun, but it's so exciting and exhausting. And then the group goes rolling out of the tent, typically together. Rolling is probably a good word. Stumbling out of the tent, up the hill to
arm in
arm, singing the songs of Oktoberfest to pizza. It used to be pizza. Now it's a doner kebab.
Right.
There's a Chinese place next to it. Just a great thing. So we do that. That's Thursday. Yeah. That's all day Thursday. Friday morning, tell us about the routine.
Friday morning is tough because, again, most people have arrived the day before. They were out all day, enjoying the Oktoberfest on Thursday night. And then we get them up at about 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday because we don't have reservations on Friday morning inside the tent. But what we do have are relationships.
Yeah, big.
So we have a little bite to eat in the hotel, and then we walk over to the tent so that we can be there at 9 o'clock. The tent's open at 9:30 to the public, and at about 9:28, before they open the door for the Hacker Herren to come in so we can claim those tables in the best position in the best tent right next to the music. And we have 100 guys, so we take up 10 tables of these prime real estate spots on Friday morning at 9:30, at 9:28.
Sorry to interrupt you, but one of the greatest things to watch is you sit in the tent. Like when you go there on Friday morning, everybody knows it's going to be a very packed weekend. So there is, hundreds, if not thousands of people stacked around the doors. And they let us kind of single file roll in. We sit down, and then they open the doors.
And we're the only ones in the tent for 2 minutes. We're the only ones in the tent.
Yeah, and it blows for rookies, especially blows, and then it blows their mind. And then all of a sudden, they open the doors, and it is like a sea of people running, jumping over like barriers and barricades to try to get as close to the band where we're sitting. But at that point, we have 8 to 10 tables all just sitting there, and it's one of the coolest moments. And it's one of the moments where you look at your rookies like, yeah, you're here. And it just blows their mind. It's one of the greatest moments ever.
Yeah. So Friday we get there first thing in the morning. We sit there. They don't serve beer till 10. So you sit there for half an hour and, just kind of kibitz a little bit. Then they start serving beer and pretzels start coming out at 10. People are reliving the stories from the night before and laughing and having fun, even though we're really, really rough and we'd rather be in bed.
Yeah.
That first beer gets down you and things start smoothing out a little bit. And then at noon, the music starts. So that's another energy boost.
Yep.
You get going a little, and now you've had a beer or two. And it's off to the races.
The music at noon is what I like the Oompa Loompa band. Like it's the fun, traditional German, band. They're playing traditional German music. It's fun. It's a wonderful afternoon. You sit around, you talk, you get to know a lot of guys in the group. You get to hang out. You get to catch up with good friends. And then it rolls into about 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And that's when things get colorful because a different band comes on. And this was mind blowing to me, my first Oktoberfest, because they're playing songs like they're playing like Neil Diamond, the Rolling Stones, John Denver. I mean, all like
Bryan Adams.
Brian Adams, the summer of '69. And you haven't lived until you have 10,000 Germans singing "Country Roads,"
right? Yeah,
swaying back and forth. Or New York, New York, by Frank Sinatra. Right. You look around, you're like, "Are you kidding me?" And this has been going on for years and years and years. But that band really lights it up, and that goes till 10 o'clock. Is it 10 o'clock?
No, I think they go till 9, and then the band that was there before comes back for the last hour.
That's right. That's right.
So they're kind of like a cover. The one before the rock band is kind of like a cover band, and they're all dressed, all gaudy and look like rock and rollers.
Fired up. Fun. Yeah, fired up. For years and years, it was the KG Strings. That's the name. Still is. Great, fun band, and they get the crowd all fired up. So we finish that night, and we basically rinse and repeat. We go back up to pizza. And then really, I mean, that's we call that the marathon day. That's the day where, you really put out. The next morning you get to sleep in, and we have,
do you need that?
Yeah, thank God. And we've done, again, to the testament to the character of the Hacker Herren. It's like guys can sleep in, but they actually get up and they go into town. They go figure it out. We go on bike tours. We go learn about, we've been on beer tours. We've gone and, we did a really cool, a bike tour, the Third Reich tour one year. It was really, really wild. Spent a little bit of time getting to know Munich, getting to know the culture.
Some people do the tough thing, which is go to the concentration camp. Dachau is nearby, and a few cultural things. That's what people are doing on the Saturday morning. Just getting out, getting some fresh air, stretching their legs a little bit. Some people walk the fairgrounds because it's like a county fair.
It is.
We don't typically see the county fair part of it. We just see the beer tent, but Saturday's a good day to go out and throw win a stuffed animal type thing, eat a fried Snickers or whatever.
Yeah. It's a fun day. And then we have our formal night. So Saturday night's the formal night. We don our traditional, everybody wears lederhosen, by the way. And I'll show you, I brought Ken's lederhosen into the studio. So if you're watching this, Ken, if you don't mind, I'll show you lederhosen here. These are traditional German lederhosen. I brought mine too. Different types and sets here. This is really neat because these are custom made for Ken. And if you look closely, this is the dagger pouch, which is really, it's on this side. The dagger pouch is really neat. And Ken has put on here the Hacker Herren logo right here, which is really, really neat. It's something that we worked on here. We worked on together. It's got a lot of cool, you have it on your phone too. You have your own phone case with it on. It's got the year 92, which was Ken's first year. It's got the Bavarian flag, of course, the German pretzel. You'll see a lot of like the symbology of, like, you see German pretzels. There's a lot of hearts around Oktoberfest. And then it also has, let's see what we got on
92.
Here. Oh, 92. And then the HH for the Hacker Herren.
And we got a little wheat on the top, to symbolize the beer.
Yep. Just fun. We designed that through a firm here in Cincinnati. And that wasn't too long ago, really. It was maybe like 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And since then, we were able to put that on all of our gear, which is really fun. So it's like, it's on my sleeve here, and people start to recognize the Hacker Herren logo, which is also just a neat thing. It's like it started to become more and more. So this group, that's kind of the schedule. I'm sorry, I passed on. We get formal. We get all into our nice. We have nice white shirts that we wear, linen shirts, and we go in. We have a reservation that night, Saturday night. We go up. We have a nice dinner all together.
Prior to that, though, at the hotel.
Oh boy, yeah, that's one of the funniest moments of all. I forgot.
It's the one thing I probably look forward to the most.
Yeah. We go to the hotel. Now we'll be all in the same hotel, which is great, and we have a ceremony of. It's a small recap of stories, funny roast going on, a roast for everybody there, pretty much, and then we hand out our awards for the year. We hand out the Rookie of the Year award, which we've talked about, and that's a big deal, where they don the hat on the new Rookie of the Year. And then there's the Hackermeister award, which is Hackermeister is the veteran. So tell us a little bit about the Hackermeister. it's somebody who's been at least 1 year as a veteran. Tell us a little bit about the Hackermeister.
So the Hackermeister is really, we have the Rookie of the Year. It's the Veteran of the Year, somebody that's been there before. It's not their first time. And the people that vote on that award are the guys that have been to Oktoberfest in our group 5 years or more.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been there 5 years, you don't get to vote on this award. And it's similar. It's the veteran that's just having a ball that year for whatever reason. They know the ropes, but maybe they took their son this year and they're just having a great time hanging out with their son or their son-in-law, or maybe their buddies from college are there this year and they just really embrace it. It's just to recognize, you know what, you really had fun this year, and we just want to award you, and we give them a vest. We have the hat for the Rookie of the Year, the green hat. We have this purple vest, and again, it's prestigious. If you get to wear that, you get to wear that vest all that evening, and then the next year until you have to give it away. And frankly, John, also on that vest, I don't want to make this a downer, but we also over the years we've had 500 guys. We've lost some of our guys who have been part of the Hacker Herren, and we etch their names into this vest. We have an in memory of. And I think there's 6 names on there now that we're thinking of when we're over there.
Yeah.
So we talk about those guys each year when we're there.
Yeah.
But the Hackermeister is the guy that just represents all the veterans, and he's having a heck of a time this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's best, and sometimes it's also, I think we've given out the ham. We call it the Hackermeister Award, to people who've just been foundational to the group, right? Who've just had a long-standing history and probably should have their name on that vest. It's been
just to recognize, you know what, we really appreciate what you mean to this group.
Yeah. It's really, it is really neat. I think about the guys who, again, it's that brotherhood. It's that family that we've built over time, the trust that you build in the group, and this great moment of awards and passing out the awards. The stories always crush me because they're so funny. Every year this becomes a funny. I go in every year thinking it can't be as funny as it was last year. And then it ends up.
It always tops it.
It always does.
And just like Oktoberfest, John, it's the best year is always the current year. It's always better every single year.
Yeah.
We don't go backwards. We just build, and it gets more and more fun and more meaningful. And we just have a great time.
Yeah. I think about it, and when I try to describe it sometimes to people, I say, it's really, I don't think we could do this in America the way that it's done in Germany. We worked hard to bring, actually, I'll talk a little bit about this for a second, because this is also a neat part, an understated part of the Hacker Herren, that every year we donate a little bit of money towards something cool, or we have in years past. Obviously, we talked about the COVID GoFundMe for our waiters. We've also done neat things for charity, like we put together a few bucks, towards charity. 1 year, we're supporting the military. We were able to fly one of my SEAL team brothers out, who probably wouldn't have the time, energy, or the resources to just get a plane ticket and come to Germany for a weekend. We flew him out, and it was just a cool, recognition of supporting our veterans. We've talk a little bit about some of the other things we've supported. Autism was one of them, if I remember.
Right. We donated some money to an autism group in the Bay Area. One of our brothers has 2 autistic children, so we decided that was going to be the charity that we recognize. We did a veteran substance abuse. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah,
one?
Absolutely. For the Joseph House.
Yeah, the Joseph House.
Yeah, the group donated to a awesome veterans group called the Joseph House that I'm honored to be on the board for, that helps chemically dependent and homeless veterans get back on their feet. So I wouldn't say it's a huge part of our group. We're not designed as like a nonprofit that's raising money for anybody, but it's just, again, a testament to the character of the guys that go on this trip every year. It's like, why don't we, do something a little bit just beyond us? And I love that. Yeah. I said, it's hard. I don't think we could do this in America the way that we do it over there. It'd be hard to put 10,000 Americans in a tent and serve a ton of beer in this pretty intense environment and not have physical altercations. If you go to the bars, in everybody in America knows this, like there's going to be, they have bouncers for a reason. They're kicking guys out for a reason. But at Oktoberfest, you really don't see that. And you certainly don't see it in our group. We have this no kind of a-hole mentality, but it's pretty much vetted by the time they get there. Talk to us a little bit about like how we self-police and how people be curious as to, you got 500 guys. It's the greatest energy ever. Create this awesome group, but aren't there problems? Like every team has problems.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how we police each other and how that goes down.
Well, it starts with the culture, John. We really talk about it. We try to make sure that everyone understands they have a responsibility to the goodwill that we built up over the 20 plus years, and we don't want them to compromise what we have established. So the guys who have gone understand it and know it. And we talk to, again, it's just part of our culture. It's that they make sure we make sure that we all have those friends. We all have those guys in our group that we run with, and they're fun and everything, but they wouldn't really be right for this group because they're a wild card for whatever reason. You don't know. They might go. They might be the likes to fight guy, and we
Right.
just don't tolerate any of that, and therefore our group aren't inviting those people that are in their group to come to Oktoberfest.
Right.
They're inviting the guys that will enhance our group,
Right.
not detract from it. So, and it's really worked out. We kind of self-police it.
Yeah.
If we do see something going on, hey, look, we're drinking beer, we're out there, we're tired. It does rear its head, but other members of the Hacker Herren who may be seeing something will absolutely go over there and maybe buy the local person or the person that's not in our group a beer just to try to calm things down. Hey, sorry, no, we didn't mean anything by it.
Right.
We'll pull our guy away and just
Right.
separate him and try to have a little gesture of, hey, he's just had an extra one and
Sure.
we're sorry for
Yeah.
that. We
Yeah.
That's not who we are. And I was going to say 90 whatever percent. It's 100% of the time that really diffuses the situation.
It really
and we
does,
make a friend out of it.
It really does. We've turned situations that might have in any other circumstance might have been pretty rough, turned them into like, hey, let's hang out. And again, it's Oktoberfest. Buy somebody a beer, hang out, get to know them, do your best to try. Some of our folks even have learned German. Like they decided to start their Duolingo or their their own little thing. So they learned just a bit. So we're trying. I would say it's the opposite of ugly Americans, right?
And they appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
By the way, Germans typically speak English extremely well. Our German is typically never going to be as good as their English, but they absolutely appreciate and get a kick out of us trying.
Yeah. One of the moments that I remember where I thought, whoa, we have arrived. Because Germans are let's be honest, they're pretty tough about the rules, right? So there's certain rules you can't break in the tents. And one of them is you can't stand on the tables, right? That's the whole thing. You can put one foot on a table. There's benches and tables. You can't put both feet on a table. You can't take your shirt off, right? We broke all those rules all at one time. I don't know what happened. There was a song playing that was, I think you can keep your hat on. And this is a very embarrassing year for us. I don't even remember. If you look back at the pictures, they're awful. But we all decided we're just going to stand up on the tables and just have our own private, like funny. And the security were like, yeah, okay.
It's one song.
It's one song. And then, then we put it all back together, but it was really funny. But another thing that really, one of the stories I think about, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this went down. By accident, we're up on the balcony on our Saturday night.
And this balcony is 30, 40 feet above the ground. It's pretty high up there.
Really high. And you're having, dinner at these nice tables. They look like picnic tables. And in a freak accident, Walt Steinbeck, who's the great rookie of the year, one of the greatest guys of our group, accidentally gets bumped and his Moss, his big leader Stein, falls off the balcony. Now, there's a massive rule that you don't throw anything off those balconies. I mean, it's a safety concern. And the Germans are like, immediately, you're out of here, Right. This Stein falls. Luckily, doesn't hurt anybody. Hits the table.
It hits the table down below, explodes.
Yeah. Oh,
nobody gets hurt.
thank God.
Well,
Nobody gets hurt. I think they got a little wet.
Yeah.
It's like this thing just goes, and they were really upset down there. We were sorry. There was a guy who had bumped Walt. Who it was a really weird situation, and of course, security came up. They were on us with like 20 seconds. And they escorted Walt out. Well,
and they roll like 6 or 8 deep. They don't. It's just not a security guy comes up. They got 6, 8 guys in these security shirts coming up in force.
And you're not messing around. You get out of their way. You see them coming. They're ready to go. Walt thinks he's going to jail. He doesn't speak German. He's like freaking out. Like, hey, Walt, it's going to be okay. And so he gets kicked out of the tent, and we go out. Somebody goes out of the tent with him. He's got like one of our, he's got the white shirt on. We switch him into a different shirt. We go around the side door where we know the head of security. And within 2 minutes, he's back in the tent, back up at the table to the amazement of 10,000 people. Like, how did this guy get back in? I sat back at that moment and said, we have arrived.
We have arrived
as a group. We do not take advantage of our, I think we see it as a responsibility in the tent. We don't take advantage of this. We don't, we try to look after each other. We try to look after everybody else in the tent. We don't take advantage of our, I would, egotistically say clout of our group. But that was one moment where I thought, oh my goodness, this has really become something really neat. Again, you've built some great relationships. Like we said, like the head of security has flown to Chicago to spend time with our teammates' families and got to know them. Our waiters and waitresses will fly here, and we do reunions in San Francisco, Pleasanton, where the most is like starts at ground zero for Oktoberfest right there. We do reunions in Chicago. We do a reunion now in Cincinnati. That's what we're on right now. We're on this tour. Like Ken came in, he's in South Carolina, flew into Chicago. We met there. We did our big, we call the swag party, where we give out all these jerseys and gear with all of Chicago. And then we flew back to Cincinnati. We did it last night. We had a wonderful time at a brewery called the Common here, where one of our brothers owns it. It's a brewery, and it's a great time. So we're kind of on tour, doing this. It's been, for me personally, it's just been such a beautiful add-on to what I consider one of the best lives I could possibly live, is to have this to look forward to every year. It's just it really goes beyond so many things that we ever imagined it would be.
And the one thing that we haven't talked about, John, which I think is also important, is, you saw my shirt when I turned around. My name is Hasselhoff. We all have nicknames, and for the most part, we don't know each other's real names. I mean, I do because I run the thing, but in general, people don't know each other's real names. We don't know who does what in this world. We don't care. We just get to know each other there's no hierarchy,
right?
It's just guys great. And you're just reaching out and making new friends and embracing each other. And if you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or you're an entrepreneur, nobody knows, nobody cares.
That's right. The super successful guys in our company, I say in the Hacker Herren. And what I've learned in life is, the more you dig in, the more you learn about people, the more impressed you're going to find about their real stories. We could probably do 500 podcasts on each individual Hacker Herren and how impressive each of their stories are. And as I've got to learn and open my eyes a little bit to, oh my gosh, there are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. There are like people who run billion-dollar enterprises in this thing, and they're just the guy that you can sit next to and have a few beers. We've built this for me personally, because I've been lucky enough. I lived in Baltimore, Chicago, and I've recruited people out of like those areas. I was in the military. I invite these great friends from that. So it's the one weekend of the year that I can count on to see some of my best friends that I've made throughout the years from all the different cities that I was a part of over the past 50 years. So this is like such a fun reunion. I mean, I joke about it. I say we could do this in Wisconsin. You know, we could do this if we got this group together. And you know, we had that energy in Chicago 2 nights ago. It was just so fun. But nothing beats the energy in the tent. But that, you know, just talk to us a little bit about, you know, across the miles and the connections you make.
Yeah. So first of all, John, none of this could happen without supportive families.
Amen.
My wife, Linda, you know, that none of this would happen without your full support. I bet I talk about Oktoberfest 350 days a year. It comes up. Maybe it doesn't come up a day or two here and there, but it pretty much comes up in my life every day, which means it comes up in Linda's life every day, and all of our wives, Anya and Walt's wife, Penny. They all are supportive because they recognize how important this relationship, this bond that we've created is to us, and how it really makes us better men.
Yeah. And beyond that, you've also created an award for the wives, right? Yeah. So when somebody crosses over 10 years at Oktoberfest, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I think it's just amazing. You buy the wives jewelry for saying, hey, thank you for allowing this guy to be a part of this group. It is a sacrifice. It's a financial and a time sacrifice, and we all have very busy lives, to come and be a part of this. You know, without you, we recognize that without their support, probably wouldn't happen. Or, you know, it's really neat.
Yeah. So we do. We honor the guys who have been 10 years. We honor their wives with a little Edelweiss necklace, a beautiful necklace that Barron's Jewelers created for us, custom made for us. And Ronnie Heller and his team have done a great job of creating that. And it's a beautiful piece of jewelry that I know Linda wears proudly, and it looks beautiful on her. And all the other wives also are really kind of flabbergasted that we do take the time to recognize that without them, this couldn't happen.
Yeah. It's amazing. I tell people, if you want to go to Carnival, you know, obviously another big, if you want to go to Mardi Gras, there's probably, do the running the bulls in Spain. There's probably a group that has it 100% dialed in. If you want to go to Oktoberfest in Germany, we are that group. And Ken, you are the guy who's kept it in place and organized and really created something really neat. It's hard not to come back year after year for me personally.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It takes a lot of time, but it's not a burden at all. If it were a burden, I wouldn't do it. It's a pleasure to keep this group together year after year. And I get comments from every single one of the guys afterwards about being thankful that this does go on year and year, and thanking me for keeping them connected to their brother, their dad, their buddy from the military, whatever the connection is, that they would have fallen away from the ones that are close to them.
That's right.
Without something like this.
That's right. So everybody listen, you might not have or want to be a part of, you know, something that goes to Oktoberfest, but going back to the real gist of this is life is about relationships, creating the right venue and time to get together, making those sacrifices from an organizational standpoint. Like I just crossed the 50-yard line. I just crossed the 50-year mark personally. And I decided, hey, I want to double down on relationships. I can't create. Ken and I know each other for 20 years. If I meet somebody new today, I'm certain there's a lot of great people that I could meet, but I can't create the amount of memories that we share, the amount of stories that we share in the next 20 years. And why not double down on this? Why not double down on these relationships? So for those of you listening, think about your families. Think about the teams you're creating. Think about the relationships that you're in. Think about how you might be able to create something even small, because as we said, there was no master plan to this. We just found the right venue, but started gathering the right people around it. It hasn't been without circumstance. We've had to make sacrifices. We've had to do things that are, certain times it's been harder than others, to get over there. We've celebrated life and death together, family members, being there. Never forget, the heartfelt condolences that went out, when your mother passed and things like that. We've really become very close. So just want to encourage everybody to continue to surround yourself with the best people possible. If you think about it and you have the ability to try to create something like this is grandiose. I mean, this is, Ken, this is way too, in my mind, at 50, I'm like, well, I don't think I could ever create something like this. I'm glad it exists and I'm glad I'm a part of it. But I just wanted to, just to spend a moment saying thank you, Ken, for what you've created. It's a beautiful part of many people's lives. And for those of you listening, continue to reach out, be a deeper part and more meaningful part, a more significant part in the relationships that you're part of. Because here's a man who's done it, and he's done it every day. And his wife, Linda, puts up with that every day. And she's a great author, by the way, Norris Bloom, incredible author. And she's got her own world and her own life. But I can't, really put into words the enormity of what this has become, and you don't really get to experience it until you show up in the tents. And we'll close this out with our tagline.
You think you know, but you have no idea.
Well, Kenny, thanks for an hour here of your time, and one last Prost. Oh, man, this has been fun. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us on The Next Level. Look forward to seeing you on our next podcast. We're here with Ken Bloom, the founder of the Hacker Herren, a brother and a friend. And have a great day. We'll see you out there soon. Take care. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us on The Next Level. We hope that you found a couple of tips or insights today that you can take into your daily life. To learn more about our leadership training programs, our executive coaching programs, and the Team Performance Institute, please visit us at teamperformanceinstitute.com or email us at info@teamperformanceinstitute.com. Hope you have an awesome day.